जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभ यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वन यमुना तीरा वन जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वन यमुना तीरा वन राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौर निताय की, शिल प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। So we're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita today, Madhya Leela, chapter 16, text 189. And the chapter is entitled Lord's Attempt to Go to Vrindavan. गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, से पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार, से पाप हैते मोरा हौक निस्तार। गौ ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, से पाप होते मोरा हौक निस्तार। वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, से पाप होते मोरा हौका निस्तार।
गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, से पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार, से पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार।
गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
से गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
से पाप होते मोरा हौका निस्तार,
से पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार। गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार, पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार, से पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार। गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार,
से पाप होते मोरा हौका निस्तार।
गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
गो ब्राह्मण वैष्णव हिंसा करियाची अपार,
पाप हैते मोरा हौका निस्तार,
से पाप होते मोरा ladies.
Go Brahmana Vaishnava Himsa Karayachi Apar.
Go Brahman Vaishnav Himsa Kariyachi Apar.
Shri Papa Hoite Mor Hook Nistar.
Sei Papa Hoite Mora Hoka Nishtar.
Go Brahmana Vaishnava Himsa Koriyachi Apar.
Go Brahman Vaishnav Himsa Kariyachi Apar.
Jai Papa Hoite Mor Hoka Nistar.
Sei Papa Hoite Mora Hoka Nishtar. Word for word. Go Brahman Vaishnave. To the cows, Brahmanas, and Vaishnavas. Himsa, violence and envy. Kariyachi, I have done. Apara, unlimitedly. Sei Papa Haite, from those sinful reactions. Mora, my. Hauka, let there be. Nishtara, liberation. Translation. The Muslim governor then prayed for liberation from the unlimited sinful reactions he had previously incurred by being envious of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and killing cows. Purport. By chanting the holy names of Krishna and Hari, one is certainly liberated from the reactions to such sinful activities as killing cows or insulting Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. The karma incurred by such activity is very great, but one can immediately nullify all this karma by surrendering to Lord Krishna and chanting his holy name. After being released from one's sinful reactions, karma, one becomes eager to serve the Lord. This is the test. Since the Muslim governor was immediately purified in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could utter the names of Krishna and Hari. Therefore, he was eager to render service, and the Lord eager to fulfill his desires. Immediately had the devotee Mukunda Datta informed the governor that there was some service to render. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtha Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada and the devotees were on a morning walk in London, and specifically at St. James's Park. This was very early in the morning, and in the park, policeman was going around, and he woke up one of the young men there who was sleeping on the bench, and he woke him up quite rudely. Right, get up, what are you doing? What are you doing sleeping here? Right, clean yourself, get yourself together. And Srila Prabhupada and the devotees were observing, right, this policeman waking up this young man very rudely. And Srila Prabhupada said to the devotees, they're coming from a rich family, they have all the facilities, yet they are sleeping on the park bench. Yet they're wasting their life like this. They're not making the most of the facilities, the opportunities that are available to them. This is due to their karma, this is due to their destiny. And Srila Prabhupada then went on and he said, they lack good fortune. Therefore, they cannot change their destiny. Therefore, they cannot change their karma. When one takes up to Krishna consciousness, then one is able to change their karma, one is able to change their destiny. So they lack good fortune. So then Bhajahari Prabhu, he asked Srila Prabhupada, then what is our good fortune? How is it that we took up to Krishna consciousness? Right? Some of us took up to Krishna consciousness, and some of these other young men, they didn't take up to Krishna consciousness. So what is our good fortune? Is it because we took birth in a specific family? Maybe we were coming from a religious background, religious family, maybe because of our previous birth. Maybe we have certain qualities, right, that we've taken up to Krishna consciousness. What is our good fortune? And Srila Prabhupada said, I am your good fortune. The devotees are your good fortune. Therefore, you are able to take up to Krishna consciousness. So here we have the Muslim governor who has the fortune of associating with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's interesting. So Muslim governor had this spy, and somehow he was observing the devotees, he was observing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the exchanges between the devotees and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he related all of this to the Muslim governor, this spy. And he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, powerful, great personality, he may be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, I think he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he started describing to the Muslim governor the qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the characteristics of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he started describing the fun and the activities that the devotees get up to in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu whilst singing and chanting the holy names of Hari and Krishna. Muslim governor was hearing from the spy that the devotees would have so much fun. There'll be so much excitement as they're singing, as they're chanting, as they're dancing. And sometimes they'll behave like madmen. They'll be rolling around on the ground in ecstasy. And of course, the Muslim government was very, very much interested in fun and madness, because he's described as a governor who was very much drunkard. Right? How many of us are interested in fun, happiness, and madness? Yeah? All right, only one or two people, one or two devotees. All right? In this situation, the Muslim government was definitely interested. So he wanted to know more. He wanted to know more. He wanted to be in that association. So he requested, he put forward his request, if he could get some association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if he can have darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there were some exchanges between the spy, the secretary, and so on, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's assistants and so on. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to give darshan, to give some time to the Muslim governor. So it's interesting. Here we have the Muslim governor. He hears of the characteristics and qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the exchanges between the Lord and his devotees. And therefore, he develops eagerness to associate with the devotees, and he wants to have darshan, right, of the Lord. He wants to have some association of the Lord. So we can see how one progresses in their spiritual life. It begins with hearing. Hearing of the devotees, hearing of the holy name. This is what the governor heard. He heard that the devotees were chanting Hari and Krishna. So he heard of the holy name. He heard of the good times the devotees were getting up to. And therefore, he wanted to be in that association. He wanted to have darshan of the Lord. He wanted to know more. Right? And he wanted to engage in the service of the Lord. He wanted to engage in some service. So here we have the Muslim governor requesting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, requesting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for liberation from unlimited sinful reactions, the unlimited sinful activities that he has engaged in. So, as one hears of the glories of devotional service, as one hears of the glories of devotees, as one hears the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one feels insignificant. One feels remorseful, regretful of one's activities, one's crimes, one's bad deeds. So here we have the governor feeling very much remorseful and regretful. This is also said to be one of the stages in terms of making progress in spiritual life. We must feel regretful, we must feel remorseful, we must feel insignificant. So therefore in the Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. What is Krishna saying? My devotee quickly becomes rectified. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. He becomes religious very quickly, becomes righteous very quickly. Why? Shashvat shantim nigacchati. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains Shashvat means again and again he is regretful of his activities. He is remorseful. Right? And in this way he becomes purified. Right? He makes further advancement. Yeah. So as well as engaging in devotional service, one must also be regretful. One must see oneself very insignificant. Feel oneself insignificant. So here, after greeting the Lord with Hare Krishna specifically, not necessarily Hare Krishna, yeah, then he feels regretful, he feels remorseful, he wants to be forgiven for his sins, his crime. Right, his sinful reactions, his unlimited, not just sinful reactions, unlimited sinful reactions. And now we get into some interesting parts of the verse and also the purport as well. Maybe some questions are already arising in you. I had some questions as I was reading this particular translation. So is this sinful reaction, or is this a sinful action, him being envious towards Brahmanas, Vaishnavas and the cows? Is this sinful? Yes. Or is this aparadh? is this aparadh. Anything done towards a Vaishnava is said to be aparadh, is said to be an offense. Why? Because the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and the cows are very dear to the Lord. Yeah? Are very dear, very close to the Lord. So Lord takes whatever is done to them. What to speak of whatever is done to them, even if a person looks at them in a very displeasing way, is not pleased with them, or maybe puts on a certain facial expression, right? Then that is also regarded as an offense. Right? Is regarded as an offense. But here, right, the Muslim governor is saying, liberate me from the unlimited sinful reactions of my sinful actions, of being envious towards the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and the cows. So how do we understand this? Right? Because Padma Purana says that one can easily become free from sinful reactions, right, by taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, and we know that, right? Lord Ram says, if at any point a demon, right, envious person, sinful person, at any point, if they just chant my name, take shelter of me, right, I accept them immediately, regardless of what they've done, right, regardless of what they've been up to. Yeah, I accept them immediately. And Krishna also confirms this, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Suchaha. Yeah, abandon all varieties of religion, surrender unto me, and I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear, do not hesitate, do not doubt this. So in one sense it's quite easy. As soon as we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then and we forget about rules, rituals, regulations, or I have to do this, I have to do that. No, just take shelter of the Supreme Lord and we will become free from sinful reactions. Yeah. So Padma Purana says that this is quite straightforward. But what if one commits offenses towards the Supreme Lord? Then Padma Purana goes ahead and says that by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord, then one becomes free from that offense unto the Lord. Yeah. So therefore sometimes devotees say the holy name is more powerful than the Supreme Lord. It's more accessible, right? Than the Lord. And therefore this pastime is there, right? They're putting the monkeys, the assistants of Lord Ram, are putting the name Ram on the stones. And then they're chanting and they're putting the stones in the water, in the ocean, and the stones are floating. And the Lord Ram is bewildered. Like, how is this stone floating? So he himself throws the stone in the water, and nothing happens. In a sense that the stones, kind of go into the water, sinks, right? So Lord Ram does it again, and the same thing happens. So then he's bewildered, and he approaches the devotees, and the devotees explain that your holy name is more powerful, right? Your holy name is more accessible. So Padma Purana here explains that when one offends the Lord, one can overcome that offense by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. But then Padma Purana continues and goes on, and it says that what if one offends the holy name of the Lord? And there are 10 offenses in regards to the holy name of the Lord, right? The most grievous is said to be offending the devotees of the Lord who have dedicated their lives, right, to propagating the holy names of the Lord. Yeah? So, what is Padma Purana's recommendation if one has offended a devotee, Vaishnava, Brahmana, cows, been envious towards these personalities, Padma Purana says there is no solution. There is no way out. There is no way out. But then we hear through various pastimes, we know through various pastimes, if one has offended a Vaishnava, then we have to go and beg forgiveness to that Vaishnava. Yeah, we know the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj, right, and Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni is running around here and there, approaching different personalities. He approaches even Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu, right, is saying, I cannot help you. I cannot help you. You must take shelter of my devotee. You must take shelter of Ambrish Maharaj. So then Durvasa Muni eventually, after running around like a fool here and there, eventually he takes shelter of Ambrish Maharaj, and he is Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So when Ambrish Maharaj is approached by the Rasa Muni take his shelter, then immediately the Sudarshan Chakra is withdrawn. And then they make up, he's forgiven. So if one commits an offense onto a Vaishnava, the only way out, right, through various pastimes, Padma Purana doesn't say, Padma Purana says there is no way out, putting it out to us that we should at all cost avoid Vaishnava aparadh. But through various pastimes we understand, right, that, and even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells his mother, take shelter of Advaita Charya. Right? Take shelter of Advaita Charya. You have inadvertently caused offense unto him. So, by taking shelter of the Vaishnava, begging forgiveness from a Vaishnava, making amends from a Vaishnava, then one may be forgiven of Vaishnava aparadh. One may be forgiven for offending those personalities who are very dear to the Lord, right? Such as Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and cows. Yeah. But here, the governor is saying, I want to be liberated from my sinful reactions. Yeah. So what to do, how to understand this. It's not just, if you look at the wordings, it's not just sinful reactions, apara papa, unlimited sinful reactions. So maybe here the term apapa is referring to, apara is referring to offense. So you have ordinary sins, and then you have ghastly sins or aparadh, offenses onto those personalities who are very dear to the Lord, right? So unlimited sinful reactions. So Prabhupada also in the purport is kind of going into this as well. Prabhupada uses the word the most sinful, it is most sinful to kill cows in Sod Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So it's not ordinary. So maybe most sinful, unlimitedly sinful is referring to aparadh. And then Prabhupada continues and he says, the karma incurred by such activity is very great. Yeah, it's not just ghastly, it's not just sinful, right? It's not just great, it's very great. It's very grave. Yeah, then Prabhupada, if you go from the beginning of the purport, what is the way out is interesting. Prabhupada doesn't say take shelter of the Vaishnavas, beg for forgiveness, make amends with them. If you read from the beginning of the purport, by chanting the holy names of Krishna and Hari, one is certainly liberated from the reactions to such sinful activities as killing cows or insulting Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So that's different from what we know of the pastimes and what we hear. If you want to be forgiven, we want to be rectified of offense on to these personalities who are very close to the Lord. So why is Prabhupada suggesting chanting of the names of Krishna to be forgiven of these sinful actions, or gravely sinful actions, very great sinful actions, unlimited sinful actions? And why is he not suggesting that we take shelter of those personalities, right? Rectify, make amends with those personalities. So if it's not possible to specifically approach those personalities, so the next best thing is to take shelter of the holy names of the Lord. So during Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, apparently one disciple accidentally killed their guru. It was middle of the night. The disciple heard some commotion and he thought someone is breaking in, right? Someone is going to attack us. Someone is going to attack my spiritual master. So he was standing behind the door, knife, sword, something like that. Maybe he was a Kshatriya disciple. Yeah, Kshatriyas, like to kind of get up to these kind of things. Or maybe he was very much a Vaishnava disciple. Doesn't matter about my life, whatever it takes, I will protect my guru, right? I will save my guru, like that, and protect the property of my guru. So it was dark, and as the door opened, right, he swung his sword. And he swung his sword to his guru, happened to be his guru. And the guru died. He killed his guru accidentally. So how could he then make up to his guru? Yeah. So he approached different Vaishnavas, what to do, how to go forward, and they all come to an agreement. They all suggested that he should dedicate the rest of his life in chanting the names of Krishna, taking shelter of the holy names of Krishna. And indeed, throughout his life, he engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord in this way, being remorseful of his activities. So how could this Muslim governor go around to all these cows he may have killed, right? Or was involved in killing of these cows somehow or the other, or go to all these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, right? Throughout his life he may have been engaged in so many of these hideous activities. So then the next best thing recommended is taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. So therefore Prabhupada is saying that one can be relieved of such activities by chanting the names of Krishna and Hari. And Prabhupada is saying certainly, for definite. If you go further down the purport, Prabhupada continues and he says, when one takes up to the holy name, then as one is getting purified, one will be released of all of one's sinful reactions, and one will become eager to serve the Lord. One will become eager to serve the Lord. Okay, we'll come to this point of becoming eager to serve the Lord in a little while, but before that, Prabhupada says one can immediately nullify all of one's karma by surrendering unto Lord and chanting His holy name. So if one does simultaneously surrender unto the Lord and chants the name of the Lord, feeling regretful, then one will quickly make advance, and one will quickly become purified. And so therefore, what does it mean surrendering unto the Lord? Because this is critical. Right? We chant the holy names of the Lord, but we should also surrender unto the Lord. So surrendering unto the Lord means following His instructions, abiding by His instructions. And it doesn't mean just externally, us chanting away, us externally engaging in devotional service. That's a beginning. That's a start. But ultimately, all of our being should be surrendered to the Supreme Lord. Should be surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Right? So that means we should be giving ourselves fully, right, to the instructions of the Lord, to chanting the names of Krishna. So not just externally, but where is our mind? Where is our thoughts? Right? Who are we dedicating these activities to? Yeah? Are we doing it for the Lord's pleasure? Or is there some mixed motivation here? So the surrender means on all levels, right, one takes up to the instruction of the Lord. That's what the word, so one abides by the Lord. One wants to please the Lord on all levels, not just externally. Yeah. So when one does this and one takes up to the holy names of the Lord, then progress is very, very rapid. One becomes purified very, very rapidly. One becomes forgiven of one's aparadh, of one's unlimited sins, great sins, great karma, very, very quickly. Right? Prabhupada is saying this. Very quickly, immediately. And here we have the governor also had the fortune of personally having the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So therefore, it is said that he became eager to serve the Lord. He requests eagerly to the Lord to be engaged in His service somehow. Okay. Prabhupada writes, as one becomes free from sinful reactions, one becomes eager to serve the Lord. And then he says, this is the test. This is the test. What is the test? How eager we are in serving the Supreme Lord. How eager we are to render service to the Vaishnavas, to the Lord, to the devotees. How eager we are. That is the test. So it's not necessarily how we're chanting in terms of my posture and I'm better than the other devotees are falling asleep, I wake up so early in the morning. So all of those things may be there. Yeah? But how eager are we to serve the Lord? How eager we are to serve the devotees. This is the test. This is the test of our progress. How enthusiastic we are to preach, to serve. How enthusiastic we are to abide by the Lord, to follow His instructions, to please the Lord. Right? That is the test. Now there's different levels of eagerness or different places where taste is mentioned. There's the initial attraction. So as one engages in devotional service, as one gets to hear of the engagements of the devotees, how much fun they have, how much they're peaceful, how much they're detached, yeah? So then one develops somewhat of an attraction, right, for devotional service. So there is some eagerness there, right, to engage in devotional service. So that's the initial eagerness. Yeah? And then as one engages in devotional service, sometimes it is said Krishna gives the taste. But it could be that we're getting a taste because it's something different we're engaging in. Yeah? Or it could be because as we're engaging in devotional service, what is happening is there is kleshagni, we're starting to become free, right, from distress, from suffering. Yeah, this can happen at the very beginning stages. Yeah, we start to become free from distress, from suffering, or one can experience somewhat of eagerness, attraction, happiness because shubhada, right? I'm doing the right thing, is pleasing to others, is pleasing to the Lord, right? And that feeling, similar to the feeling when one is like, mundane, one day engaging in mundane charity work, is I'm helping people. So therefore, as one engages in Krishna consciousness, I'm doing the right thing. That feeling is there. So one feels satisfied. There is that happiness there. So that's the initial eagerness, initial taste, initial kind of happiness. Then as one engages in devotional service further, one becomes purified. One becomes mostly purified of one's sins, right? At least 75%, it is said. Then one crosses this stage of anartha nivritti, and one comes to the point of nishtha, where one becomes firmly fixed in one's practices, in one's sadhana. So there's the initial faith, right? That, I'm seeing the devotees, they're engaged in devotional service, and they're happy, they seem to be peaceful. Yeah, surely if I engage in devotional service, the same thing will take place. So there's that initial faith. Yeah. Then there is this further faith, or this nishtha. So this sometimes also referred to as firm conviction or firm faith. What does this translate? This stage of nishtha, what does it translate practically? And how do we know if we're at nishtha? Yeah. Let's take chanting, for example. Right? We can judge, we can tell if we're at a nishtha or not simply by observing our chanting. Because practical application or practical meaning of nishtha means constant, attentive sadhana. Constant, attentive sadhana. Or constantly and attentively we're engaged in devotional service. So when we're chanting, observe ourselves. How constant are we in our chanting? How attentive we are in our chanting. Maybe we're constant in terms of maybe chanting for a couple of hours. But are we constantly chanting? Are we constantly engaged in devotional service? And within those couple of hours of chanting, how attentive we are. Right? Maybe we struggle to chant even one round attentively in those 2 hours. Maybe even few mantras attentively, right, in that round. So we can tell how much we are at nishtha if we're constant and attentive. We measure how constant we are and how attentive we are. Yeah. So once we kind of come on this stage, right, at the stage of nishtha, then there is, as we, kind of firmly, right, and properly engage in sadhana, then there is a taste, because we're now properly engaged. We're properly engaging ourselves, right, in the process. Previously we've been practicing and we've been purifying ourselves through the process. Now we're properly engaging in the process. Right? So then what happens is then there is ruchi. Then there is taste. Yeah? And as one continues, one continues engaging in service, then there is addiction. Yeah? And deep attachment, ashakti. Yeah? And then it is said that Lord's internal potency enters into the heart of the devotee. Yeah. So we talked about the initial taste, the initial eagerness. Then we have the eagerness because of taste after we've cleared most of our anarthas. Yeah, and then there is the taste at bhav, when Lord's internal energy, internal potency enters into the heart of the devotee. Yeah. And here the taste is so much, is so great, it's beyond our body, right? It's described as ecstasy, right? Ecstatic. That's what literally the term bhava means. Yeah. So a devotee at this stage, simply, even if they hear some syllable of the holy name, like krush, that's enough for them to go into ecstasy. Yeah? That's the stage of bhav. So, where is the Muslim governor in this? What is his stage? Here it is said he became eager for service. So what is his eagerness? Is it the initial eagerness? Is it at the stage of crossing the anatha nivritti and at ruchi? Or is it at the stage of bhava and prema? Really, in one sense, there's not much of a distinction between bhava and prema. Prema is the perfection, right, of love of God. And bhava really is the beginning, right, of love of God. It's just like before the sun rises, there is the illumination first, before we actually see the sun rays or the sun. So bhava is described as the illumination of prema, like that. So where is the Muslim governor? What is his eagerness, right? What is his attraction? What is his taste? Yeah, that he wants to serve the Lord. He's eager to serve the Lord. If you read further, if you go further ahead, we hear more of the Muslim governor in this episode, and indeed, Muslim governor engages in the service of the Lord. He helps him cross the river. Yeah, he personally is engaged in protecting the Lord, personally engaged in serving the Lord. And then it is said, the Muslim governor, then is asked by the Lord, now, you can go and I'll carry on with my journey, like this. And at that point, Krishnadas Kaviraj says that the Muslim governor, the separation he felt, it cannot be describable. It's not possible to describe his separation. So therefore, it must mean that Muslim governor must have been at the stage of bhava at least. Must have been at the stage of bhava at least. And then this episode concludes by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami saying that if one hears this pastime, one will become glorious and one will also attain perfection. I suppose like the Muslim governor. Right? Immediately. Muslim governor attained perfection immediately. By surrendering unto the Lord, by taking up to the holy name, and being in the association of the Supreme Lord. Like this. So this is the power of the process. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the greatness of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the greatness of hearing of the pastimes between the Lord and his devotees. Right? Hearing of the qualities and the characteristics of the Personality of Godhead. And it is possible when these things happen, right? When we hear, we come in association of the devotees and the Lord, it is possible for us to immediately come to the platform of bhav, right, and perfect our life. Within moments, within a few days after hearing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees, Muslim governor attained perfection. Right. So therefore, to conclude, let's read the verse again, and if there's any comments and questions. Text 189 again. The Muslim governor then prayed for liberation. The Muslim governor then prayed for liberation from the unlimited sinful reactions he had previously incurred by being envious of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and killing cows. So really here the emphasis in this verse is regret, remorse. Yeah? And therefore then that becomes an impetus for us to take spiritual life very seriously, association very, very seriously, and chanting of the holy names very, very seriously. To the degree we're feeling regretful, to the degree we're feeling remorseful, to the degree we're feeling insignificant. Yeah. So this is what I would say, at least the quality of the Muslim governor. That's what he had. That's what he started off with. Right? And of course he was interested in happiness. He was interested in madness. So if we're seriously interested in madness and happiness, right? If we're seriously interested, then this is the way to go forward. Yeah. But I suppose because quite many of you were reluctant, that maybe you're not serious enough in terms of being happy and being mad, right? Wanting to be mad. I don't know. So we have to be serious. We have to be seriously wanting to be happy. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments, corrections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. My question is, when you had said about how the devotees should surrender and chant the holy names of the Lord, so my question is that we also hear how we should surrender to the holy name by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So how do I understand how to chant, how to surrender to the holy name, which is obviously not different from Krishna, by chanting? Is there like a different kind of understanding of here?
How to surrender unto the holy name. First of all, we should know what are the 10 offenses to be avoided in regards to the holy name. And we should be checking ourselves in terms of how we're doing in terms of avoiding offenses to the holy name. Secondly, we can hear of the glories of the holy name and Krishna, right? And in this way, understand the importance and the greatness and the power of the holy name, and naturally that will get us to take shelter of the holy name. That will humble us in front of the holy name, right? That will help us to take shelter of the holy name properly, like that. Hearing of also devotees who are very much taking chanting seriously. Yeah? Associating with those devotees who are taking chanting very seriously. Chanting in association of the devotees. Yeah? Much as we can. What I find helpful is chanting the holy names of the Lord in unison with the devotees. I find that very helpful, right? Because then I even if I'm kind of feeling somewhat tired, right, the devotee's energy keeps me going, keeps me chanting, helps me to be attentive, right? And Prabhupada very much appreciated when he heard that the Gurukul devotees, the children, were chanting in unison. He said, this is very good. This is very good for children, to chant the holy names of the Lord in unison, loudly, like that. So for me, I'm still a child in Krishna consciousness, right? Child in terms of chanting the holy names of the Lord. So much as possible, I take the opportunity to chant in unison and loudly as I can with the devotees. So this is the way to take shelter of the holy name, or to surrender unto the holy name.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. So one point which really struck me was you said how the Muslim governor, he was progressed to like a very advanced stage of power, and then he was also feeling the separation of the Lord. So I was thinking it's a very similar example with the pastime of Ajamil, because he was also very, very sinful, And we hear after that incident where he saw the darshan of the Vishnu Dutas that he straight away just left everything of his previous life, and then I think he went to Kashi, I might be wrong, but he went to a holy place and he just perfected his life. He just did tapasya and then he was actually liberated straight away. So I just wanted to kind of get your feedback or your advice that in Ajamil, what was that source of mercy or that reason that he was so sinful and suddenly he just turns his life around and just starts progressing towards spiritual life.
So, far as I remember, what happened, one saintly personality came to A.J. Miller's place, Ajamil's place, and Ajamil was out, but his wife was in. Somehow the other, the saintly personality was served by Ajamil's wife. And the saintly personality then requested that you have served me so nicely, you seem to be expecting. So therefore, when this child is born, you can do me one favor, that you can name this child Narayan. And in this way, the child that was born was named Narayan. And what happened was, as the child was growing up, Ajamil was there. It is said that Ajamil was chanting, calling out to his son, but in fact he was chanting the names of Narayan. And therefore, at the time of his death, because he was chanting the names of Krishna, names of Narayan, and especially he called out with great enthusiasm, in eagerness, and very much kind of in shock, right? From his heart, he called out Narayan, right? He called out for his son simultaneously. Or sometimes it is said, some acharyas say that actually he remembered as a brahmana that he used to worship Narayan. He used to engage himself in chanting the names of Narayan at that moment. And immediately, as he remembered his service unto the Lord, his chanting, right, of names of Narayan. So although initially he may have been calling out to his son, at that point the Vishnu Dutas appeared, right? And then it is said, seeing that conversation, hearing of that conversation between Vishnu Dutas and Yama Dutas, then got Ajamil really thinking, right? And he felt very remorseful, and he was very fearful of the Yama Dutas. He didn't want to go to hell and to face those personalities again. So therefore then he took himself out, the remaining part of his life. He got given second chance. He took himself out from this family situation and so on and so forth, and then he went to Haridwar, and he engaged in serious Krishna consciousness, and very quickly he perfected his life like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. My question is that the clarification of aparad and sinful, like sins, when we know something about that, so if we commit something, then it is called aparad. If someone is not knowing about that and he's doing something, it's I think it's sinful. Mm-hmm. So in this case, I think people don't know about that, like is God or devotees. If it's doing, so it's my understanding is should be sin.
Okay, so just to be clear on what you're saying, that if someone doesn't know that the activities that they're engaging in is aparad, meaning they're being envious towards those who are dear to the Lord. So then, because they don't know, then therefore it's a sin rather than aparad. Maybe, I don't know if there's any shastric references or examples of that. I don't know if anyone can think of any examples. However, we know from Dhruva Maharaj's pastimes, he wasn't a devotee. But it is said that because of the insult of his mother, his father, and so on and so forth, later on it is said that his stepmother and his brother had to die in a specific way, in a horrific way, because of an offense onto Dhruva Maharaj, although he was not a devotee. Like that. So in that pastime, even if one doesn't know, still it is regarded as aparadh. Because in purport, Srila Prabhupada does say, because of an offense onto a devotee. Therefore, they had to die in a very horrific way, because of an insult onto a devotee.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, we can stop here. Thank you very much for your attention. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai.
Big